Hello Jonathan, I want to play a game. A couple of weeks ago you were tagged by Lisa Loves to list your favorite trap in each Saw film and yet you put it off. Today, I remind you of your duty as a man of movies to count down your choices or else I'll unsubscribe from your channel. Live or die, make your choice.
It seems like no matter what I do, I can't get away from this franchise whatsoever. But at least this challenge is fun. Let's get into it, guys. Starting off with the very first Saw film, it's got to be The Reverse Bear Trap, and in this one we see Amanda Young for the first time strapped into this mechanism, and it's also in her mouth, so when the time expires, that will open up, and you can only imagine what could happen. And the reason I chose this one was because of how significant it is, not only in the movie, but in the entire franchise, where this specific trap has become synonymous with what we know of Saw. As we move on to Saw 2, I had to choose the needle pit. In this one, Amanda Young, again, is thrown into a pit of needles, and these old, disgusting, used needles sticking out of her in order to find the key to open a door to get an antidote. And the reason I chose it, as you could see from my reaction, is because it made me cringe big time. With Saw 3, I had to choose the pig fat, which is a smaller trap, part of a bigger trial that one of our protagonists, Jeff, is going through. And in this one, the judge that let Jeff's son's killer loose is chained to the floor as a conveyor belt of rotten pig carcasses is being grinded up into a soup and spit out. And he's dying, and Jeff has to choose whether to save him or not. And the only way to save him would be to burn his deceased son's toys. And the reason I chose this was because of how profound and impactful that message was. Yeah, it's totally psychotic, but it was very emotional nonetheless. As we move on to the most forgettable Saw film in Saw 4, I have to choose the ice block trap, and here Donnie Wahlberg has been chained up by the neck, and our detective character who's been going through Jigsaw's trial fails, and these two ice blocks come down and smash Donnie Wahlberg's head like a grape. But the reason I chose this was because of the reveal that Mark Hoffman was the new Jigsaw, even though it led to some of the worst Saw films I've ever seen. As we move on to Saw 5, the one I have to choose is the water cube trap, where we see Agent Peter Strahm. His head is trapped in a box that's filling up with water, and he's gonna drown to death. But I love how he finds a way to get out of it. Now, the reason I chose this was because of the way he got out of it, because I thought he was a goner until he pokes that hole in his neck and creates a breathing hole. Pretty cool. Saw 6 was a surprise for me and ended up being one of my favorite Saw films, and the trap I chose here was the shotgun carousel, where we see Peter Outerbridge's William having to watch his co-workers in this carousel, Russian roulette style, being randomly picked off by a shotgun, and he has the choice to skip, I think it was 3 people, by putting his arm in this mechanism that's gonna shoot a nail into his hand. And the reason I love it was because of how creative the trap was. The whole film and its traps were creative, but this is the one that stood out to me. Saw 3D was one of the worst films I've ever seen in my whole life, but I guess I gotta choose, and I choose the horsepower trap toward the beginning of the film. And this one's a bit more convoluted, as it includes 4 people going through a series of events at the same time. And the reason I chose this one is because it's probably the only good thing about the movie. As we get into Jigsaw, I've got to choose the grain silo trap, as 2 of our victims walk into a empty grain silo. The door closes and they're being bathed by grain, and they're just stuck in this grain as more objects start being thrown at them, and the only way to be saved is for another victim outside of that room who has his leg tied up in wires, having to sacrifice that leg in order to save 2 lives. And the reason I chose this one was because of the pure tension that was built throughout. Spiral being the most recent outing in the Saw franchise, I have to choose the glass grinder. Toward the very end of the film, we see Detective Zeke's old partner Pete being chained up as a conveyor belt of glass bottles start moving, and I thought at first it was gonna be a key in one of those bottles that was gonna unlock the chains, but no, it falls into a grinder and these shards of glass start being shot at Pete's back. And the reason I picked this one was because it caught me by surprise. I thought the trap was gonna go one way and it went another way, and it was so innovative. And that's the name of the game when it comes to making a good trap in Saw.
You were successful this time around, but your humanity will eventually get a hold of you one day and I will be there waiting. Until then, continue the trend and tag some other people to partake in this list. Till next time, man of movies.
Well, quite easily, I'm just going to throw this tag out to all of you. If you've seen Saw, if you like Saw, and you want to partake in this challenge, let me know in a video what is your favorite trap in each of the individual Saw films. I also want to say a big thank you to Lisa Loves, who tagged me in her own Saw trap tag video a couple of weeks ago. And if you haven't already, check her channel out. I'll link it in the description down below. She does movie reviews and she dives into true crime, so show some support her way. But like always, like this video, share this video with family and friends, and subscribe to my channel. Till next time, movie fans.